I've lived 1,000 lives. I've piloted 1,000 souls. I've killed and fought at night just for another role.
This is the Happy Jacks RPG podcast, a roundtable discussion that's a mix of friendship, humor, unbridled enthusiasm, and tabletop RPG topics sent in from around the world.
Just for another role.
Hello, and welcome to Season 36, Episode 8 of the Happy Jacks RPG podcast. My name is Kimmy.
My name is Adam.
And hey, this is Ross Payton with Roleplaying Public Radio.
Welcome, Ross. We're very happy to have you. Longtime fans, long time waltzing around together in this role-playing radio / podcast space. So welcome.
Well, yeah, it's great to be here. It's one of those things like I should do this, but thank you for taking the initiative and reaching out to me. Yeah,
Go me. Really, it was
Yeah.
just we were on Blue Sky, and I responded to a thing, and it was like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to do this, so then I got in your DMs. It's great.
yeah.
All right,
Please get in my DMs.
Yeah.
Get in the
Yeah.
DMs.
When
Yes.
we do a Happy Jacks, we slide into DM.
DMs. Yeah. Not. Don't do it. Don't even try it. No, thank you.
Is that slide into your Dungeon Master?
I mean, if they're wearing pads, that'll be fine. But
Yeah.
wait, or never mind. See, I told you we'd go off the rails before the YouTube thing, Ross. I told you.
Yeah.
All right, today's topics. First, we're going to be talking with Ross about all his amazing stuff, role-playing public radio, his endeavors to design and create his own stuff in the TTRPG space. Then we have Beard Hair on Discord asks for system recommendations, specifically stuff around horror games. And then from the archive, 2019, Ben from Texas asks about player agency and roles. If you'd like to contribute a question or topic to the show, you can email us at happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. That's happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. Or you can drop something in the mailbag channel on our Discord, which is happyjacks.org/discord. Yeah. So those are the two ways. We're sort of messing around with what we call the Discord messages, like missives, I suppose. I think that's the thing that I keep forgetting saying. It sounds cool. I don't know. Announcements. Our next game days is October 25th, which is very, very soon. You can join the Discord to run or play in great games. It's free, it's inclusive, accepting, fun, hopefully, and safety tools are required for all games. And then again, that's happyjacks.org/discord. We currently have a bunch of games posted. There's an Outgunned game, an Alien RPG game, a Brindlewood Bay game, Siren by the Bakers, or McGay Baker, I think specifically, Morkborg, Roll for Shoes Pokemon games, which are very fun. And I think there's more, but there's a lot. It's very cool. Go sign up to playing games. If you've been a part of the server for a little while, like a day or two, and have been talking and participating, then you can run a game too. It's lots of fun. happyjacks.org/discord.
And with game days, we usually have more GMs than we have players.
We're
so-
weird.
Yeah, so if you want to play,
Yes.
yeah, there will be plenty of games for you to play, and you do not have to run.
No. No pressure. We need players. We are the strange unicorn of a community that has so many GMs, and we need people just to come play games. So just come play games with us. It's great. All right, Indie Designer of the Month. Our Indie Designer of the Month is Cody Gonzaga. Yay! A mixed race, queer, and disabled designer from here in Los Angeles. You can see them on Road to Nowhere with me every Tuesday night for our Electric State actual play. For a moment, I was like, what is the name of this game? Oh, yes, the one I'm in every single week. This week, you can find their work on Jaztice, JAZTICE.itch.io, or them at Jaztice on Blue Sky. Today's game we're going to be talking about is Voxen, a Firebrand's hack. Supers are a fact of life here, monitored and regulated by the ever-present DSR. Some supers are guardians, state-sponsored heroes that protect the city, or at least the powerful within it. Others are marauders, supposed terrorists and super supremacists who wreak havoc and claim the title villain with pride. Others are renegades, unregistered supers who aren't affected by either group, simply doing what's best or what they have to become symbols for the common folks, as they do. You are supers caught up in a complex politics and oppression in the city of Voxen. Are you a guardian, a marauder, a renegade? Fight with your friends, ally with your rivals, and fall in love with your enemies. Voxin, a Firebrand's Hack, is a casual one-session role-playing game based on the Firebrand's framework by D. Vincent Baker and McGay Baker. To play, you need 3 to 5 players, several 6-sided dice, a few hours, and 1 copy of the playbook for each player. And you can get this for $5 on justice.itch.io. All right. We love you, Cody. Now, Ross, who are you and
Hi.
what makes you famous?
Hey, it's Ross Bader with Roleplaying Public Radio. I have been podcasting role-playing game stuff since 2007. Roleplaying Public Radio has won the Ennies twice, once gold and once silver. And I've also published and written a bunch of RPG stuff. I wrote my own game, Base Raiders, which is a Fate superhero dungeon crawling RPG, where the premise is all the heroes and villains disappear, but they left their bat caves and Fortresses of Solitude and all their bases behind, and people found them and started looting them. And so, what happens when anyone can buy black powers on the black market, or copy spell books and put them on the internet? And it's a Gonzo superhero themed role playing game. Then I've written for Eclipse Phase. I've written some stuff for upcoming Delta Green book. And recently, last year I published a zine called The Night Clerk, which is architectural horror scenario, system free. And over the last year, I've also been doing a bunch of scenarios on the RPPR Patreon for modern horror. I did one for Mouse Raider, I did one for Fist, and there's 6 of them now, or there's 5 now. There's soon going to be 6. So yeah, I've been writing RPGs. I've been podcasting RPGs for a while now,
Yeah.
and I like them. They're neat.
For a minute.
Yeah.
You've been doing
Yeah.
it for a minute.
Oh, I have another RPG podcast called Luddo Narrative Dissidents that I do with Greg Stolze, one of the co-writers of Unknown Armies, and James Wallace, who did the Adventures of Baron Munchausen, and we review RPGs one game per episode, and we're on our 3rd season right now. Yeah.
Woo.
Say the name
Yeah.
of it again.
Luddo Narrative Dissidents. Luddo Narrative, game narrative. It's a play on Luddo Narrative Dissonance. So Luddo Narrative Dissidents. And
That's got to be great for E
it's
SEO.
yeah. It's I mean, it's a kind of unique word, and yeah, that we do through Kickstarters for each season. And yeah, we're on season 3. We're on the back half, and yeah, should be finishing that up in the next couple months to try and kickstart a 4th season probably next year. Yeah.
Excellent. That's awesome.
Mhm.
I love when our guests are like famous and big enough that they like forget some of their stuff and like, oh wait, I have a whole nother podcast I didn't mention a moment ago.
I actually have a 3rd one, but it's not RPG related, so it's
Wait,
a
what is
vaporwave
it?
review. Night Clerk Radio. It's a haunted music review, which I like
Ah.
vaporwave and ambient music and post rock and stuff like that. So
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
That's in our we
Yeah.
we end every episode with a song by like an indie band that's one of our groups or friends and stuff like that. So that's for the leftover remnant of us starting as Ren Fair band, like Ren Fair band performers, and then RPG podcasters, which is a very clear linear transition in hobby.
I mean,
Singing-
I can see it. It makes sense to me. Yeah.
yeah.
And we were all just playing pretend and usually hooking up with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my
Band
favorite.
and theater kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. The theater kid to RPG player is like
Right.
just a small off ramp, just
Oh,
right
yeah,
there.
yeah.
We all do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it does make a great, like, people are like, well, how did you get into playing TTRPGs? I'm like, well, I play mandolin. And so, okay. So many things to talk about there. RPPR, yeah, it's like one of the like giants and like long, I want to say old because we're not old. We are long running. We are.
There we go. I
like-
prefer that term.
Yeah.
Yeah. Long running. Yeah.
Yes, we are the wine and cheese of the RPG podcast space.
There we go, yeah.
Aged podcast.
Yes, distilled with just a hint of hops and something else, and barge cement tonight. So like, okay, what was your like first what was your mandolin? So like, what it got you from like being a fan, playing RPGs to like wanting to do more in the space?
I've always loved writing and creating things. My first written publications were actually for Knights at the Dinner Table, and I got paid $50 to write a little dungeon or whatever.
Yeah.
And then in 2005, I found these little comedic anecdotes, stories about gaming. I don't know if you were on RPG or not, but AB3 wrote these stories about his dysfunctional gaming career, and they were written like kind of like a radio play.
Oh.
And so got some friends together and recorded them as little radio plays, and I put it together and put it on the web, and called it Role Playing Public Radio. And then in 2007, I went to Gen Con for the first time, and I was like, people should know about Gen Con. And there's this new thing I hear called a podcast. So I got my friend Tom, and we recorded the first. And Tom went with me to Gen Con, and it's like we should do a podcast about it. And we had fun doing it, so I kept doing it, and that's really how it got started. Is I just like doing it. And like the next year, I started talking to people at Arc Dream Publishing. Oh yeah, I wrote some books for them for Monsters and Other Childish Things. The Road Trip, which was an Emmy nominated campaign, and Curriculum Conspiracy. Anyways, I met up with them and got my first book contract from them at Gen Con. I was like, this is great, this is awesome. And then 2009, I was like, I got this little handheld audio recorder, a little Zoom recorder, and I started recording games at Gen Con run by one of the Delta Green co-authors, Adam Scott Glancy. And he was running this World War One Call of Cthulhu game set on a U-boat. And it was like we played over 12 hours over the course of Gen Con, like 5 to 6 hours each night in the Hyatt hotel lobby.
Yeah.
And people loved it, and they couldn't get enough of this stuff. And so I just like the feedback was enough to keep me going as I was in grad school at the time. And yeah. And then so I kept doing. That's how I got started. Yeah, is Gen Con basically, and like people liked it, so I kept doing it.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Mhm.
So like when you did the actual play, because it's so funny because like the audience for podcasts have become so much they've become actual connoisseurs now. Like I remember
Mhm.
back in the day, if you had audio from like any game, like they just like they were like excited just to listen. Like there was
Mhm.
such like people were just recording stuff like in their house with like little recorders and stuff. And now it's like if there's like small background noise, they're like, oh, terrible, they cannot listen,
Yeah.
unable to listen to podcast because of bad audio quality. It's so interesting how like the expectations have changed.
Mhm.
So I mean, do people still listen to those first ones that you recorded at the Hyatt?
Oh yeah, people were like like one of the first things we did that really popped off for us was my friend Caleb Stokes. He got into gaming around 2010, and because another friend brought him to a Call of Cthulhu game that we ran, and he liked it. And then Eclipse Phase came out, which is a very cool sci-fi horror RPG. And it, for me getting it to learning, figuring it took me about a year to read it and like understand it well enough to actually run it. And then I ran it for Caleb and some friends for the podcast, and Caleb's like, oh, I could do this. And so he ran this campaign called No Evil, and that became huge. People like, oh, this is how I do Eclipse Phase, this
Yeah.
is how this works. And people like were just on our the RPPR Patreon Discord, just like, oh, hey, let's do a little audio club and re-listen to No Evil and talk about it, like a book club, but for a podcast. And so like all the time people are like, oh yeah, I've listened to No Evil like 6 times, and other like the especially like the Glancy games, because Glancy is this does this immense amount of historical research, and you basically get college credit for playing these games because he tells you like, oh, here's how a U-boat in World War One worked, and
Yeah.
blah blah, and then 2 hours later we get to roll some dice. And people re-listen to them all the time. And yeah, I found there is the big, there are people who are like the high in production value game, they're very intolerant, but there's people who just really lock into the content. And because they like that feel of it sounds like they're actually at the table,
Yeah.
and that they're with these people, and it's more real and immediate to them, that they're listening to a game being played rather than like this improvised radio play,
Yeah.
stage drama. And so I feel like there is this divide between the sort of minimalist and the more polished approaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The audience is like they tend to like they're drawn to types too. Like
Mhm.
I have some good friends of ours that do like very polished like APs. They
Mhm.
basically take all the game parts out almost. So it does, and like they add sound design, they do all the stuff. So it
Mhm.
sounds like an audio drama. Like if I didn't know because I knew the people who played it, like I would almost think, and they say it's a game. And it is because they just edit all those game parts out of it. And to me, like that doesn't have any appeal to me. I'm like, oh, okay, like that's great. I love you all. I support what you do. That's fantastic. You got a good audience. That's amazing. But that's just not
Yeah.
like the flavor that I particularly like.
Mhm.
I love the vibe of friends at the table. I love hearing the dice clatter. I love like and that happens less and less now because so many people do it like remotely. But
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. There's just something about people who just like vibing at a
No,
game
I mean,
table.
I mean, a lot of our listeners also too talk about like, they they listen to the podcast to learn how to run the game, how to play the game,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like that. And so these rules discussions and just they'll obviously tell us when we get something wrong. Like
Yes.
one of the first games,
What?
Caleb ran was like, this 1930s Call of Cthulhu game, and the first comment was like, "Oh, by the way, you got this detail on the shotgun wrong." It
Yeah.
couldn't, to the monster made out of wood, the shotgun wouldn't do that much damage.
Mhm.
So yeah, and yeah,
It's so funny when they do that. You're just like, okay, thanks. I
Yeah.
mean, like I'm always grateful if they're like come at it with good intent, but it's
Mhm.
always just a little like you go back and you like I go back. People will comment on like rules stuff that from like campaigns from like 8 years ago that they're just now watching.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
And you're like, well,
Yeah.
8 years ago, me would love to have known that. So I
Yeah.
finished off the campaign doing that rule correctly.
Right? Yeah.
Enjoy
I
the
don't
ga-
remember those, but yeah. I I kind of enjoy when our audience will find like, oh, that rule's not how I understood it, and they'll start a discussion. And so when I ran our mage actual play last year, we had one audience member, one of our listeners, who was like really into it and like knew the system because
yeah.
most people don't. But like every week or so, like they would say like, "Hey, I noticed this," and they're like, I always thought it was this," and we'd have a discussion about like, "Oh, no, I actually changed that rule because I like this better," and we just didn't talk about it, or or we talk, or I'm like, "Well, that's not how I understood it, but I'm gonna look at it again," and and it was always approached with a conversation about, did you do this differently on purpose, as opposed to actually the rule says this. Yeah. So I also really like that, getting to hear the mechanics of it and getting to hear the interplay and sometimes the tangents, but that's kind of what we do on Happy Jack, so that's what I lean towards anyway. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, everyone does that to some degree. I mean, you can never run a game 100% rules as written because so, but one thing, you can't please everybody. There's just a divide between, like, I used to post, when I started out, I posted one actual play that was 6 hours long straight. I didn't split it into multiple episodes. I was like, that's how long it took us to play the game. Ugh, here it is. And then, like, one of the first comments was someone's like, "Yeah, I just started listening to this and I didn't go to sleep that night. And then I have to go to class, but it was worth it. Great game." Like, I'm like, all right, cool.
Great.
So, and but like some people, like, I'm never going to listen to that. That's too long. And, you
It
can't,
always baffles me.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, you're on a pod. Like
Yeah,
catcher.
you could just
like,
pause it.
Just
Yeah.
stop it.
Yeah.
And then hit play again later.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I listen to actual plays mostly when I'm driving. So like I'll get them in like 15 to 30-minute chunks, and and then I just pause it and I pick it back up the next day when I'm back in the car. So yeah.
Yeah. I feel there's also like a big divide between sort of like I feel my podcast or Role Playing Public Radio does actual plays have been very, I would call them like very plot driven, in terms of like, here's the story and we are going to go through it, and we don't focus so much on like role playing between. I mean, there obviously is role playing between the party, but we don't have like sessions where it's just your characters talking about like how they think about each other, or like
Mhm.
every time there's something, it's more, a procedural, like there's something happening, there's overall plot. But I feel like a lot of these larger, more highly polished productions are more like trying to get you invested in the player characters. Like, here
Yeah.
are these very interesting characters, and you want to, and with our BPR, it's more like, there's a story going on, and we got to see what's happening. And
Mhm.
so yeah, there's sort of a different approaches, and it makes me wonder, like, if some actual play podcasts now like try to specifically engineer their games to sort of like hook audiences on like the characters, like, oh, you really want to care about this player character, and like that's never I've never thought about running a game from that angle. I've always been like, here's a cool story, we're gonna do this, and like
Yeah.
see what happens, and what happens is what happens. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but
Definitely.
I
So,
haven't.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, good.
Yeah, I was gonna say some of the big ones definitely have a lot more thought into that, and a lot of them like legitimately like they have a writing staff, and they
Yeah.
credit them, so it's not like a secret or anything like
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
So they do have because a lot of the times like the person who GMs the game is also like a working actor, or has like
Mhm.
4 things they're doing, or running an actual legitimate, like, I know we call this a network.
Yeah.
It is my garage, but like a legitimate network where they're like running things. So it's like,
Right.
it makes sense that they don't have time to sit there and like, well, let's see, I'm going to stat up this one monster for the encounter or whatever. So they have
Yeah,
people
yeah.
who help with that stuff a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. Like, I'm sure that there's got to be some elements of that in it, because a lot of them are writers that come from TV and the
Yeah.
industry and things
Yeah.
like that. So I can't imagine there is a way for them to divorce that knowledge they have as like an industry
Yeah, yeah.
creative writer with doing stuff for like RPG content.
Yeah.
But I also don't. I mean, like we do more like character focused stuff, but we don't plan anything. I don't know if you
Yeah.
noticed, Ross. we don't do a lot of planning here.
We do not.
No,
Yeah.
but that's also like our brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're okay with it. Our audience is okay with it.
I mean, yeah, like,
But I think
it's.
yeah,
Oh, sorry.
I think it's okay. I think as long as people are being honest about what they're doing, I think
Mhm.
that's great. As
Right.
long as they're coming from it, like with transparency, like, hey, we have a bunch of writers, or we have a bunch of people who are helping create this and stuff like that. I think it's
Yeah.
great, and I think it also opens up the space to have a lot of different things that like it's like the Baskin Robbins out
Yeah.
there. Like,
Right.
you can have your Crunchy Monkey, or you could have we are half baked. It is my favorite flavor, but it also has an apropos name.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's also like this aspect, like for RPPR, I've never been like, okay, so I see some of these larger shows and they'll be like, oh, this is episode 200, and I'm like, what? I can't run anything for 200 sessions. Like, the thing about RPPR is I always like, our longest campaign was like 50 episodes, and that was back in the early days, or like 46 episodes, not even
Yeah.
50. And everything else has been between like 6 to 30 episodes per campaign. And like, I will change systems and genres. We'll do superhero, we'll do fantasy, and then we'll do a lot of horror. We do a lot of horror, but like not just horror. And even in horror, there will be like modern horror, and then sci-fi horror, and then fantasy horror, and like, try different systems, and publish adventures versus my own material. And I just like sticking to one system for 100 episodes or more. Or just sticking your entire podcast in one genre, like in one thing,
Yeah.
is just like, I could not do it, or in one system. Like I couldn't do that. Like for me, it's like, I want to try new things. There's so many cool games out there. I want to play them all. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I think a lot of it comes down to that, what is your goal as a podcast, as an actual play venue, essentially. Is your goal primarily to entertain essentially for a profit, like, some of the larger ones, or is your goal to basically just share your play, right? And you're not sharing it to try and make money or gain this massive following. Or, you're just playing, and people want to listen to you for some reason or other.
And you want to get your friends to consistently show up at a specific time to play games.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
So you pick the hardest way
struggle is
possible.
real.
Yeah, and not crosstalk. Yeah, and and I think one of the things that I do love about this development is that it has made it like Kimmy alluded to a while ago. It's made the RPG space so broad that whatever style you like, you can find something that's in that. So, if you want to basically hear an audio drama that's like highly produced and really polished and has phenomenal actors, and like it's there. And if you want to just like feel like you're eavesdropping on some weirdos playing games in their garage, we're here too.
Unnamed weirdos.
Unnamed
in a
weirdos.
garage.
Yeah.
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 I'm definitely in that latter category too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine the same thing. Like we tend to switch between, like we aim for like 12 to like 20 episodes. Sometimes we go a little over, sometimes we go a little under that. But I can't imagine that either. Just with the TTRPG space being so, it's sort of volatile sometimes. It's like, I can't imagine if you put your entire like podcast in the basket of like one company and then not naming any names, they end up being like shitheads. And you're just like, wow, our entire product and brand for X number of years is now linked to this terrible person. Great. Hard pivot, trying to figure that out. It's just, just like similar to you, Ross. I feel like that would just get so boring. Like, I love RPGs. That's why we spotlight like an indie designer every month. There's so much cool, weird stuff being created all the time. I buy so many RPGs that I will never be able to play, even with making my friends show up like 3 times a week to play different RPGs.
Yeah.
Like, even with a network to make them all show up to play games, I still will never get to play them all.
No.
So, like, why limit yourself?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're talking about you, Ross. I'm sorry. We're kidding. We're waxing philosophic about how many RPGs there are in the world and actual plays. So you've been talking also about like the stuff you've been writing and stuff you've created. Like, what was the first thing you created, and what was the thing that made you take the jump from podcast content creator to like writer, or did that happen before you started the podcast?
So the first writing credit I have, I think, was Knights at the Dinner Table. They had a little thing you could submit, and so I made a little dungeon. I wrote a couple articles for them, and they paid like a flat $40 or $50, and then I did some stuff for like Loose Porter LP Junior Designs, who I think is still around. It was back at the D20 shovelware era, and he was wanting like D20 modern classes for $40 or $50 a pop, and so I did a couple of those, and then. The first real thing I did was for Arc Dream Publishing, which was Curriculum of Conspiracy, which is a campaign setting for monsters and other childish things, which is a one-roll engine RPG where it's on that genre of like kid with their imaginary friend, but the imaginary friend is Calvin and Hobbes, but Hobbes is like a Lovecraftian monster.
Nice.
And then I wrote another book for them called Road Trip, and I had a lot of fun doing that. And then after that, I was like, oh, I'll do my own game. And so I like dungeon crawling, I like that kind of idea, but I wanted to apply to the superhero genre, so I came up with Base Raiders, and I kickstarted that, and I used a version of the Fate rules, and that came, and I did a bunch of supplements for that, and I had a lot of fun doing that, and I wanted to do a second edition someday. But since then I've been doing a lot of contract work or freelance work for other publishers, and but that was the first book I had was Curriculum of Conspiracies. That was the first one. And then before, a couple of little things before that, but that was the first real thing. And that was like, hey, my name in print. That's pretty cool. I like that. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just getting paid any amount of money to do what we do is pretty awesome. So,
Woohoo!
So,
breaking even, like amazing.
Yeah, right.
The best.
Yeah.
Not the best.
Yeah.
Breaking even, the best.
Yeah. Do you, when you tend to create your own stuff, it sounds like you do mostly like creating in other systems. So you don't.
I'm more of a
system design.
I'm getting into system design I've been trying to get into the system design the last couple of years. I found it way easier to write scenarios and campaigns than like coming up with mechanics.
Yeah.
And so what I'm challenging myself to do is write an original system. And I'm doing that right now with what it's called Labyrinth Signal. It's on there's a beta on the RPPR Patreon, and you can I plan to release a public beta of it sooner. But basically, action horror is the genre for that. So it's like inspired by like survival horror games, and action horror movies. So everything from Evil Dead and Silent Hill, where it's fighting the monsters, not investigating them.
Yeah.
And obviously there's like a dungeon crawling aspect to it. And mechanically, and so like it was just easier to come up with stories and use existing mechanics because I could just come up with a cool idea and just work at that. It's like no. But then I saw someone like Greg Stolze who could just do both and just effortlessly write cool scenarios and systems like Unknown Armies and One Roll Engine. I'm like, oh, okay, well, you're just look at you.
Oh my
Who could do
gosh.
both?
So cool.
One Roll
Yeah.
Engine was like, it still is one of my favorite systems, and Wild Talents continues to be like one of my absolute favorites, especially to run at like conventions and stuff. I have run that system so many times, and I reskin it as weird stuff every time. The first game I ever GM'd was a Wild Talents game that I put in Salem Witch Trials. So
that's cool.
yeah, so superpowers popped up in Salem, and that's what kicked off the witch trials. And it was super, like, I was like your other friend, like super historic. Like I found a period map of Salem County and like had marked where all the characters, because it was a convention game, so it was like pre-gens and like where their actual historical homes were, because they were all, so that was amazing. I love that system so much. I think I am sort of in the same boat where I've like written games that were based on like PBTA and stuff like that, but yeah, like coming up with my own base system, I always kind of have felt like there are going to definitely be parts of it that are stolen from One Roll Engine because I love that system so much.
Yeah.
Steal from the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
steal
Yeah.
from the best.
Yeah. I just wish
What
character creation was simpler in One Roll. Like,
I mean, well, it is if you don't have superpowers. Like it's just the superpower. And you can't do superpowers easily. There's no way to do superpowers easily.
I mean, you can just use the
either
menu.
making them. Yeah, you could. It's a menu or very reductive, or it's a mess.
Yeah.
If you wanted it, I mean,
one or the other. There's
or
no
you have Jason make your character for you since he has a whole spreadsheet thing that he does.
Or you do,
you subcontract it out.
Right.
Yeah. Amazing.
Or you do a phone book size thing, so you can like something that you can strap to your chest to stop bullets if you need to. The Champions edition. Yeah, the Champions answer.
What are you using as the inspirations for your system that you're working on right now?
So actually, one of the inspiration was my own actual play experience. Last year or maybe the year before, my friend Caleb and I were, and other friends were. A friend ran a 13th Age campaign with it, and Caleb is a great designer and a great writer, but he has the worst luck when it comes to rolling dice. He just fails, especially with D20 stuff. He'll just roll nothing but above a 5 for an entire evening. And so it's like, I want a D20 system where it's not just based on rolling the dice. So like just talking to other podcasts, I realized no one's really done something about like timing or in an RPG in terms of mechanics. And so I wanted it's a D20 system, but the idea is player characters build up a combo meter. Every time if you get attacked or if you miss an attack, and at the start of your turn you gain combo meter points, and then you can spend them and to do multiple actions at once, or just like automatically hit or automatically defend an attack. You don't have to roll the D20. And it caps out at 6, and like you can do multiple things. You unleash a combo, and it gives you power to fight the monsters, but like it's a temporary power, and it doesn't let you be invincible or like a D&D character. It's just like you have enough just to get by, and that's sort of what I'm trying to balance right now. And I've been playtesting. It's been working pretty well. It needs tweaking, but I think I got the core idea of it down. But like that was the inspiration, was just seeing my friends suck at a D20 30K team. So yeah, I was like, oh, there's got to be a better way. Yeah.
There are there's so many great systems that don't use the polyhedral set, but polyhedral sets are so cool.
I did recently play another game that had a similar idea, but it executed a different way. Salvage Union, which is also a D20 game, but it's a mecha game, and you can heat up your mech to reroll D20, or you can get upgrades that let you automatically hit, and thus not need. So your mech starts out kind of shitty, but like when you get the cool like laser guided missiles, they just hit you. So you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so like the whole it's a D20 system, but the whole point of upgrading your characters, you don't need to roll the D20 anymore.
Mhm.
And so except unless your mech overheats, in which case, well,
Yeah.
you don't roll one and nuke yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's the thing is it's just the D20, yeah. It's great, but the swinginess of it,
Yeah.
is a challenge to design for.
Mhm.
And yeah, and I've been playing some fifth ed D&D, and like you can see the swinginess in action. Like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so I'm running a home fifth edition game and using the D20, the
Mhm.
rules as written D20, and then here I'm on the Astral Circus on Sunday nights. Quick plug, and and Jason's running that and doing a 2D10 version. So everything else is the same, but instead of a
Oh
D20, you
yeah.
roll a 2D10. And so, so it really changes the curve. And
Mm.
I'm actually really liking it. And
Mhm.
it's very interesting being in two campaigns, and both Jason and I are in both of them. And one I'm running, one he's running, and seeing the difference between the two of them. It's
Mhm.
a very interesting experiment,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
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 Oh, the other thing I'm working on recently is like I don't know how many times you two have been asked this, but like you would run like something that you wrote up yourself, and or like for me, I'd like come up with something and I'd run it for the podcast, and people would like it and be like, oh, can I want to run this? Can you where can I buy this? There's like I wrote like 2 pages on that are like the bad guy is Bob and he does this
Yeah.
and there's some goons question mark and like I improvise the rest of it
Yeah.
like my notes are no way you could not run it based on these notes. And so like last year I was like, wait a minute, I could just write. I already write and I can do layout at it, well enough. I could just write something to the
Yeah.
level that anyone could run it and then just run it on the podcast. And then people could just like get the PDF and then like, there you go.
Ah.
Yeah.
And so I've started doing that, and I've done 5 things. One is the Labyrinth Signal beta, which comes with this scenario, playtest scenario. But then I did one a system-free modern horror scenario called uh, when let's see here, I forgot the exact name. It's When You Die, Tell Gotti's Next, which is sort of like
Nice.
after you
Great
die, Tell
line.
Gotti's Next. Yeah, it's like I like Giallo's, those Italian horror films with the crazy titles.
Yeah.
Um, and that's about necromancy and the undead and all that fun stuff. Then Darkfield, which also modern horror. Then Gunpla Island, which is a Mouse Ritter one scenario.
We love Master.
And
Yeah.
yeah, Mouse Ritter is fun, and it's basically an island where a bunch of Gunpla, little Gunpla model kits, Gundam model kits, washed up on this one island, and the mice like started making little.
Oh my god.
And they use magic to animate the Gundam statues to use as little mechs for themselves.
It's
And
amazing.
yeah, and then Vigil of the Firmament, which is a funnel scenario for Fist. Fist is a like a GI Joe / Venture Brothers kind of themed,
Oh.
powered by the Apocalypse system. It's great, and like Vigil of the Firmament, I ran a funnel scenario, but it's XCOM theme. You're all these recruits, and you're sent to defend this small town that's being attacked by a UFO and aliens, and some of you will die, but that every player gets like a squad of 4 little recruits to fight the aliens.
Nice.
And yeah, so that's and Darkfield is like modern horror where there's this suburban neighborhood that's being preyed upon by this parasitic supernatural creature, and everyone in there is getting messed up in different ways. And yeah, the cover art's by Trevor Henderson, who did Siren Head. And yeah, anyways, you can listen to the actual plays of all those scenarios and then like get them on the RPVR Patreon,
Yeah.
with maps and arts and all that jazz. So,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have 2 modes. I do absolutely no prep whatsoever, or I write like 15-page documents to give to my players of like, here's all of the background information and everything that's going on, knowing that they will never read them.
Aw.
Yeah. But my home D&D game that I'm running, I created a compendium So
Mhm.
it's a Google Doc, and it's like I have extensive notes. We're on session 22, I think, and it's like 70 pages long.
Oh, yeah.
And but like I do like write-ups. Like each PC has like a page and a half, and like all of the bonds and connections that we did using Decima, any award-winning Decima. And and I have like their renown tracker, and then I have like a half-page blurb for each PC with images and like all of their base information and a whole little paragraph of history, and and then I do like these like 2-page synopses of each session.
So what
Yeah.
we've determined is I am lazy Kimmy. Yeah. We've got Ross, who like professionally publishes his amazing creations, and Adam, who whatever the fuck that was.
Yes.
I think that'd be amazing as a new GM though, Ross, like
Mhm.
have like watching you or listening to you run a game and through your creation, and then having
Mhm.
that to launch from.
Mm-hmm.
Like the teacher in me is like, oh, that could be like a new GM like kit that you could like sell to people, like or like I don't know.
Yeah.
As someone, when I was jumping in when APs were not as widespread of a thing,
Mhm.
like that would have been so invaluable and
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, because like some people would tell me like, oh yeah, I just listened to your thing like 3 or 4 times and took notes and I ran it and it was great. I'm like, yeah.
Could you send
Like
me
my
those so I can publish them? No.
yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
and like sometimes they'd ask questions that I'd be happy to answer them,
Mhm.
and it's funny. My partner, they they found out about me. They're Australian, and I'm American, and like they found out about me from the podcast, and like their first introduction was like a scenario. One of their friends ran based on one of my podcast episodes that they just listened to it and ran it based on what they heard, and then they liked that, and then they were, oh, what's this, where'd you get the idea for this? Oh, it's from this podcast. And then they started listening to the podcast, and then they started messaging me message back, and then they came to America
They
and,
slid
like,
in your DMs for real.
What?
That's
Yes,
well, it's probably
yeah.
email at that time.
Aw.
no,
That's so
it was group me, I think, before. Yeah, it was. Yeah, they
That's so
started messaging
cute.
me.
So you guys game
Yeah.
together?
Yeah, we gave a lot, and yeah, Maddie's out at a Warhammer tournament right now, but
Fantastic.
Nice.
yeah,
That's amazing.
but yeah, it was like this. The first scenario that they played was like a April 1st shit post of a scenario. Every year I do something funny for April 1st,
Right.
and that year it was Call Cthulhu, operate heavy machinery, because that's the dumbest skill in Call Cthulhu.
Yep.
Which is why I love that skill.
That's
And
so
so I made this entire scenario where they were like working at a meat plant and then meat monsters attacked. And I was like, well, they'll use all this heavy machinery to kill the giant meat monster. No, they didn't. They did everything but use a heavy machinery.
That's
At least when
fantastic.
I ran it, back when Maddie played it, like I think their character ran and got sniped by a cop that was like had
Aw.
orders to kill everyone, but they had a blast playing it, so like
That's
it worked out.
fantastic.
Yeah,
I'd love okay, so like I mean, we always like joke and talk about this, but like for reals, like TTRPGs are life changing. Like they teach us to be better humans. They teach us all these things. And as a first grade teacher, like I'm very into teaching people to be better humans. But like that, like legit, I love the stories where TTRPG community like legit changes a life, and that's so
Yeah.
amazing that you met your partner that way. I love that.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
I mean, like a lot of my fans have started their own RPG podcast because
Yeah.
they started with RPGs, and like, yeah, so we have like a little community of other podcasters. Like, shout out to Roleplaying Exchange and Technical
Yeah.
Difficulties and Coffin Club, and I'm definitely missing others, but like, yeah, there's a bunch of them out there. And,
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah, fear the boot.
Yeah.
Don't forget fear the boot.
Well, they started on their own. They didn't start because they listened to
Oh
RPG.
yeah.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
I feel
I'm
like
just-
they're still part of like the
Oh, yeah.
original podcasty club, though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
yeah,
Maybe
they
I'm just
started
trying to-
before I did, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
but,
like super.
yeah. They've been
Yeah,
around a
it's so
while.
funny.
Yeah.
Oh, we are long running.
Yes.
Long running. We are
Finally
the
aged.
refined. Yes,
Yeah.
there we go.
Long run. Yeah.
Yeah.
Long running, not old. Long running.
Nope. We got a nice moldy rind and everything.
Hey. Keep your comments about your rinds to yourself. My rind is not moldy.
We've aged like fine wine. How's
Yes.
that?
Yes,
Yeah, there we
yes.
go.
Barley.
We're
Yeah.
vintage year.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yes.
citrus from being in Southern California. All right. Any other stuff you want to talk about with you, particularly Ross, before we start sharing our wisdom with everyone in the world?
Yeah, check out the Patreon, RPPR Patreon. We have a ton of extra stuff. We have our Discord. Like I said, if you sign up to $5 level, you get access to all the scenarios. There'll soon be 6. Next year, I'm planning to do like a series of modules that can be run independently, but like added up together. There'll be like
Nice.
one long storyline because I have this. My grand idea for Labyrinth Signal is to create. I want to have my own system, so I create my own campaign setting. And my idea is I love mega dungeons, but they're all fantasy and a couple of them are sci-fi. I want to make a modern day mega dungeon. And
Ooh.
so my idea is that there are these,
Wait.
there's this pocket, yeah.
We don't live in that. That's not what we're
No, no, well, a mega dungeon, like
Oh.
it's better. Yeah, yeah. So the idea is that there's this pocket universe adjacent to Earth that people have been able to access for like the last 200 or 300 years. Like I read this mega dungeon that like you read through a mega dungeon, it has like, oh, the elves were here 500 years ago, then the dwarves came, and then the orcs came, and then like there's this history, there's this like lived sense of history in these interesting modules, and I like that, but I want that something to be more impactful, like something about like, oh well, 200 years ago a bunch of European philosophers came here, and then like 100 years ago there were anarchists, and then like Soviet agents, and then like drug dealers, and then like like this idea of real world stuff interacting in a dungeon setting where you're just exploring this massive structure that goes so far underground you don't know who built it, you don't know why, you don't know what's at the bottom, but there's actual like valuable loot there that's worth a lot of money. Maybe there's also mystical secrets and all this other stuff, and so there's a whole little community of people exploring, and so it's like the back rooms and SCP and like all this other fun stuff, and like that's what I want to do as a campaign setting. So that's like next year I'm going to start working on that. But I need to yeah. So that's my big idea for it. So if you want to, I have some concept art and notes on the Patreon about it. But yeah, that's my idea,
That's
and that's what
cool.
I'll be working on. Yeah.
All right, I have a
Very
hard
cool.
question for you, and you're allowed to say you don't want to answer this question. So of all your actual plays you've ever done, which is your favorite? And separate question, which one, if someone's never listened to any role-playing public radio actual plays before, your actual play feed is like ours where it's separate than the role-playing public radio one. So if you go out there and you look for RPPR, it's like Happy Jacks where there's the advice show, talkie show, and then the actual play feed is separate. So go looking for that. So what's your favorite game? And what game would you recommend if someone's never listened to any of your actual plays as the first one they should listen to? And are they the same or are they different?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think the thing I'm most proud of for RPPR is our campaign of Delta Green God's Teeth, because that was before it was a book. Caleb ran it just as something he wrote. He was still teaching in high school back then, and he just ran it for us, and it became, and the Delta Green fan base loved it so much they sort of convinced the Delta Green authors to hire Caleb to write it for him,
That's
and then
cool.
it won like gold. Yeah, it won the Ennie last year for best adventure, best campaign supplement, and so like I mean, and it's got all this critical acclaim, and it's a very political book. It's very like role playing games is art. That's my evidence for it. So I'm enormously proud of Caleb and like being in there. So in terms of like to start with, if you want something
No, you have to pick
scary,
one.
okay, just one. Okay,
Just one.
you know what? I'm gonna say one of our fun games. It's a one shot. It's called Slasher Flick Synthopia. And Slasher Flick, if you're not familiar, is this role playing game where every player controls multiple characters, but they're all victims in like a slasher movie setting, and then they keep getting picked off until there's only one left, and then that character can kill the slasher. So what I did with Synthopia is make it a Die Hard thing where all the players are the bad guys, and the slasher is actually an action movie hero picking them off one by one, and they all got to do every action movie trope, and there was a lot of like characters, these action movie villains started falling in love, and like it just doing all these ridiculous things. I laughed so much during it, and it was enormously entertaining. So I'm really that's a lot of the RPPR ethos is that yeah, slasher flick Syntopia. And
Awesome.
I will let's see here. I will put a link in the thing. I don't know if that will go through, but yeah.
Yeah, I can do
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so that's the one shot. If you like that, you'll like this. I mean, we have scary games, we have serious fun, and that's obviously a silly game, but yeah. And Delta Green Godspeed, which obviously has a bunch of content warnings, super dark Delta Green,
Sure.
Yeah.
modern horror, but yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm so glad I thought of that question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nick?
it's so hard. It's like choosing between your children a little bit.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
"Ah."
I
We
mean,
have a page on our website, the best of our PPR. And I'm
Oh,
like,
there you go.
this-
Oh, cool.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so
I need
smart.
to update it actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because if you like, I could probably do that for my campaigns that I've been in on Happy Jacks, but I don't know, like, the overall catalog. I don't know that I could say like, oh, this is the one to start. But I could give a like short list.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was so mean. I'm sorry, Ross. I was like, no,
Yeah.
pick one. You
Pick-
must pick one.
Yeah.
I know I'd be hard and I'd be like, oh, this
Yeah.
one, this
Well,
one.
if you
this
like
one, yeah.
this, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
then again,
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
like the flavor thing. Like some people like listening to scary stuff. Some people want other stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We need like the categories. Do you want romance? Do you want action? Do you want,
Mhm.
whatever? Like,
Yeah.
so many things.
Mm.
All right, let's go ahead and do mailbag 1. Do you want to read this first one, Adam, and then Ross? Do you want to read the second one? Are you cool with
Sure.
that?
Sure. Hey, Happy Jacks. It feels like the more different systems I play and groups I play with, the better I understand what I'm looking for in a TTRPG game. Things that my favorite sessions and games involve. First and most important seems to be a group of players who are open, collaborative, enjoy making things together, take table safety and safety tools seriously, and who are all into the yes-anding, rather than being parental and critical about the decisions and actions of the PCs. Without that, I can't enjoy the game. Secondly, I love to be scared, to feel doomed. Horror! One of the most sublime gaming moments for me was the feeling of total hopelessness, doom, and fear that Captain Kirk gave us as a game mother in a Happy Jacks game of Alien RPG. Thirdly, I don't want to have to think or plan or puzzle too hard. I want to get to the feels and the drama, and I want a system that encourages or requires that the players talk about these things. So for superheroes, I lean towards masks. For science fiction, I want to play Starscape, and I'm making plans to play things like Thirsty Sword Lesbians, Girl by Midnight, and Monster Hearts. And that's where my 2 questions come. Firstly, if it's not too generic a question to be interesting to answer, we got you. It's okay. What are the things that you are really hoping to find and experience in a game? Secondly, and more specifically, can anyone recommend a horror TTRPG that also has rules, a la Starscape, for example, that push and encourage the players to engage a lot with their feelings and relationships with other PCs? From Bared Hair on the Discord.
All right. I feel like this is the perfect question to have with Ross here. So why don't we
Yeah.
answer the system recommendations first? I
Okay.
don't know anything about horror games. I don't play them very much. So ready to go.
Okay. So horror RPGs, there's a huge amount of them. Obviously I'm going to be biased and recommend Delta Green, which is a modern horror investigative role-playing game. It's been compared to the X-Files, but it's more like True Detective Season 1 in a lot of ways. But one of the things that Delta Green has that really emphasizes the feelings are the bond rules and the home life rules. So in Delta Green, your character has bonds with other people, and you can develop bonds with the other player characters, the other agents. And you also start with your friends and family, and they degrade when certain things happen. You can actually use them as like ablative sanity armor. Like when something bad happens to your character, you see the scary monster. Instead of panicking, you could say, I project this onto my bond, and you erode that relationship, and which is role played in your home life scenes in between missions. What do you do between your missions as a Delta Green agent? Do you like take care of your family life? Are you going to train? Are you going to investigate, stay on the job and burn the midnight oil and like watch your relationship slip even further? So that's a really good system. I would also actually recommend Red Markets. Red Markets is economic horror, which may be too real for some people. And by that, I mean it's a zombie apocalypse, but you still have to pay your bills.
Oh,
Oh
You
God.
live in this enclave that's surrounded by zombies, and you're called what's a taker. And you have to go out and do these mercenary jobs to pay enough, to earn enough money to, feed yourself and your family and to not be kicked out of the enclave. And so it has all the and the thing is, it also is an anti-power gaming thing because everything to upgrade your character and make them better, you spend on money, and so you can spend on getting a better gun or improving your skills or to feed your family. And then it's like there's so many moments in Red Markets where like, oh, we could be bastards and make more money by doing this. Oh, we could betray these people. Oh, we could let these people suffer and take their money, or not just take their money, but we're not getting paid to save those people over there. Are we going to do that? And so those two games really get real uncomfortable real quickly. you know, there's a lot of really brilliantly written Delta Green scenarios. The Quick Start Guide, Delta Green Need to Know, has a really good quick start adventure that can like get really, with the right GM, can get really bad really fast. And
how
so
do you
those
go
would
about
be,
sorry, how
yeah.
do you go about repairing those relationships in Delta Green? So if you have the stresses from a job, I played
Mhm.
Delta Green a really long time ago and I don't remember the specifics of it because it was just a one shot. But
Okay, yeah.
yeah, and we didn't
The
get
bond
into
rules
those.
don't really come up until campaign
Yeah.
rules.
We didn't
Yeah.
really get into those very much.
You can attempt to repair your relationships during your home life scene. So instead
Mhm.
of like going to the gun range and getting better at shooting or
Got
investigating
it.
the weird or reading the ancient, the book Bound in Human Flesh that you found, you can go and like go to your kids' plays and try to do that, but it's like down to like a sanity or a skill roll. So you could try and still fail. Like I remember in the God's Teeth campaign I mentioned earlier, like my character, like he had an ex-wife, but he still had a relationship, friendship with her, and like I failed my role. So it's like, okay, tell me what happens. All right, well, I go out to like Coney Island or whatever to meet her because that's where we met and try and talk to her. Like, all right, I failed my role. All right, so you're there and she just ghosts you. So you're just there eating a hot dog and watching the ocean as you feel alone and isolated. Like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
It was a great little moment. So
So, what if
yeah.
you read the Necronomicon to your children as a bedtime story? Yeah.
Well, yeah, then you're just handing the GM, please do the worst thing you can think of to my character.
Kids are
Yeah.
wild. They will
Yeah.
do stuff with that.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
God, if my daughter got her hands, do not want cosmic power in her hands particularly.
No.
No.
She's
Um,
been
oh yeah, one quick third Monster of the Week, which is powered by the Apocalypse.
yeah.
Yeah, it has a lot of good like you answer these questions about how you know the other characters, so you can get and it's the powered by the Apocalypse system, so it's not too mechanically complex if you understand it. So
Yeah.
like getting those bonds, and like your character has a doom tracker, I think, where you
Uh-huh.
can like if you spend too many
The-
meta currency to succeed on skill rolls, your character just is doomed and they're gonna go
It's
away.
a
So, like,
luck tracker. Yeah.
yeah, luck
So,
tracker,
yeah.
that's it. Yeah,
So
yeah.
the first time I was ever on Happy Jacks was running a Monster of the Week campaign here called
Okay, yeah.
Interpol X, and that would be my recommendation to Beard Hair is Monster of the Week. I think is a great game. It's very adaptable. Like I mean, we're you can, if you establish the tone right and you have your players on board with the tone, you can play Monster of the Week in a very, very dark way. And just keep an eye on the tone and really just lean into those bonds and the horror aspect of it. You can also play it in a very light way, but it's really like it's very mutable and you can get out of it what you put into it. So yeah.
Another suggestion that for like PBTA minded like relationship stuff. So it is horror, but you are the monsters would be Monster Hearts.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a lot of character interaction,
Yeah.
crushes, like there's a lot
Yeah.
there. You're basically teenage monsters dealing with so much stuff, like
Yeah.
so much stuff.
Yeah.
And it can get very heavy would be my one thing. It does not have to. Again,
Yeah.
it can
Yeah.
people I know play it hard, like they go hard on it. So
Yeah.
which is one of the reasons I have kind of opted out
Yeah.
many times. But if you're looking for like that really deep connection, romancy type
Yeah.
stuff. Monster Hearts would be a horror. You could have horror elements in a story where you are the monsters and you are your own horrors. Is often how that game
Yeah.
goes.
And it really does work well for that if you lean into that direction. I've played it really hard. I've played it really light. And
Yeah, you have.
yeah, yeah. It is still, I mean, up until Masks came out, I still say it's probably my favorite TTRPG. But it is a specific taste. It's not for everyone. I did my friend Cameron's podcast several years ago because he wanted me on there because he's like, we tried Monster Hearts and Monster Hearts 2 had just come out. And he's like, we tried Monster Hearts 2 and it was rough and we didn't really think that we liked it, but we know you love it. So they had me on as a guest to talk about it. And it was like, yeah, it's just not for everyone. And that's absolutely okay. But if you can really lean into the psychological horror of Monster Hearts, and just really play up those relationships, which can really drive a lot of incredible, interesting drama. Yeah.
And fun fact, that's how you met your partner.
It is. Yeah.
Aw.
So we were doing Carefree High, which was the Monster Hearts campaign that we did here.
Some
on
amazing
Happy Jacks.
casting.
Yes. Kimmy cast both me and Joey, and we flirted with each other for months, thinking that
Nobody knew.
Yeah, I thought my character was, or he was. I thought his character was flirting with my character, and he thought my character was flirting with his character when we were actually flirting with each other in real life.
You two were the last to know.
We were.
Like, everyone watching and everyone in the studio was very aware.
Let's just say I was the last to know. Joey figured it out, thank God, because otherwise I would still be single and be like, why can't I find love? But,
Aw.
So, yeah.
Yeah. No.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Super good
Yeah.
recommendations. No, I think horror is not generally my vibe.
Yeah.
In movies or games, I struggle with it. Maybe
Sure.
it's because I'm type A.
Yeah.
It controls. I'm the one. My husband loves horror movies, like absolutely adores them.
Yeah.
And he tried like twice in the beginning of our relationship, and I'm like don't go in there. What are you doing? Like yelling and like physically upset, and like have to put my head under the blanket. And he's like, well, this will be one thing that's just for me.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good on you. I'm glad I have both of you here to tell people
Yeah,
about horror games, because I have titles I could like list, and that's
Yeah. But I would say, I mean, you can use horror elements in a lot of games.
For sure.
I mean, yeah, it's, but what I would say is like, the real key with horror games, I think, is tone. I think, you have to be, I may be wrong about this, but you have to be a little more, you have to take tone a little more seriously. Like a lot of the games we do here on Happy Jacks, we're pretty silly. We go off on tangents. We make jokes. We crack really bad puns all the time.
no, that's just you.
Yeah. That's just
Yeah, like-
Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite campaigns is Delta Green Impossible Landscapes, which came out a couple years ago, and it's King in Yellow and Carcosa themed. And it talks about what kind of horror it calls in the book. They describe it as Dennis describes it as surreal horror, and he has like this whole guide at the beginning of the book, like what is surreal horror and how to run it and how to maintain tone. And it works really, it is very important. And it's something like once you establish it, it's very creepy. It's, like horror RPGs like a David Lynch movie or like Jacob's Ladder or something like that, not body horror or slasher horror or, and yeah, you need that kind of like sort of guide, sort of like think like here are the guidelines that I should stick to if I want to keep this tone, if I want to make this scary, and you kind of need that. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And also like, like you bring up, just keeping in mind that there is different types of horror, a lot of different types, and so you want to have that conversation with the other people you're playing with about, like, if you're doing slasher horror versus psychological horror, or a Cthulhu type thing, like those are going to take some different understandings, and you want to just have that, make sure, like, if you're wanting to do like paranormal activity or poltergeist, or or something like that, make sure that, like, your players aren't expecting Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Because those are going to clash, and
Yep.
and so you just want to make sure you're all kind of like in sync with each other on the references and what that tone is going to be.
Yeah, and then what you're going to include, because I mean, especially with something like like Eldritch horror can take so many different things. There can be body horror in that. There can be like all these different things. And like that can hit really differently for different people. So going through really and talking about that, don't just be like, oh, Eldritch horror, because that can be so many things.
Yeah.
And for example, we have a friend who is in the middle of the early stages of transitioning. So body horror hits very different for them. And it's something they're interested in exploring in a very controlled kind of way right now. But later on that will probably change. And so just being really clear and communicative about what you're planning on exploring.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the generic question, what are the things that you're really hoping to find and experience in the game? I mean, really, Beard Hair, you kind of hit it on the head for me with your first one, is just, I just want to have an interesting story with my friends. And that's the main thing. I'm very, I will play almost any kind of system, almost any kind of genre. I just want to tell an interesting story with my friends, and sometimes it's okay if it's a plot focused story. It's okay if it's a character driven story. It doesn't matter, as long as I'm with people that I like and I have fun with, and we're free to collaborate on this fun story. So for me, that is the primary thing. I don't like. I will be happy with a dungeon crawl. I will be happy with an episode of me watching two of the other players have a 2-hour intense emotional conversation, and I just kind of like sit in the background. Like, I don't care. For me, it is an activity of collaborative storytelling with friends. That's really the only criteria I have. Anything else is negotiable. So, but that's me. So.
Yeah. I really like that when we sit down, we don't know at the start of the game, we don't know what the story is going to be. We have like an idea of how it's going to start, but then things happen in games that are really interesting and unique that like couldn't happen in any other medium. And there are these like intense moments of role playing and discovery and like revelation. And then there's the things that are so incongruous, so absurd to a degree that they're just be marked in my head forever, right? Like we've all had these moments. Like there's one regular, one of my friends, Aaron, and he does these things in games that are just like inexplicable, and I just love him for doing it. It can be exasperating, but like it's like we play a scenario that another friend's running called Shanghai. It's called Cthulhu Historical. And guess what? Our characters are going to get Shanghaied, and then something scary is going to happen. And so we start the game, and we get Shanghaied, and Aaron's like, "No, I refuse." Well, your character's on the boat, and they're like, they're if you don't do the work, they're not going to feed you. Well, I sell my watch. Well, it's a 6-month voyage, Aaron. You're not going to have enough food. And then this goes on for like 30 minutes. And then like, Aaron, go in here. I'll lower your character into the water with a rope. And then you can cut yourself with your knife that you still have and lure a shark to you. And then you can stab the shark, kill it, and I'll drag it on board and you can eat the shark. And well, he didn't survive that. But like, and then he made a new game, but like this is like a derailed game. But I just couldn't. We just like, what's going on? What is happening? And there are so many other moments like that, and that's what I love is there are these like years later I'm still remember that because
Yeah.
it was so out of the left field, and I love moments like that.
Mhm.
And so there is this collaboration, and the unexpected happens, and like that's what I love about it, game. You know, you never know when you're gonna go fight a shark
Yeah.
for no reason and
Yeah.
get eaten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, it
Uh,
happens.
Yeah.
yeah, it happens, and
Yeah.
it's great. You know, oh, you're gonna charge the sniper uphill, and you're unarmed, and this is the very first scene of the game, and you're in cover. No one's backing you up. No one has any. Okay, and you got killed by the sniper. Cool.
Yeah.
All
Like,
right.
what's your second character idea? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, should just have him
Uh,
make 2 characters for every game.
He's killed 2 characters in the
Yeah.
same game multiple times now. Like there was one game he got killed going in a hole and there were monsters on the other side. Then another player wasn't feeling ill and
Yeah.
he's like, I'll take over your character. He just goes right in the same hole and gets killed by the same monster.
Oh my god.
Like,
We
he's like, this time I'll have a shotgun. It'll be fine. It's
Yeah,
like, no, it
yeah.
wasn't.
oh my god.
You need a T-shirt that says that. This time I'll have a shotgun.
Yeah.
No,
Right,
it's
yeah.
great. And
Oh my
yeah.
God. I played a couple of years ago. I played in this meat grinder campaign of Tomb of Annihilation.
Oh, yeah.
That David Crennan, who does Dungeon in a Box and Skinny Minis, now Stonefold Kingdoms, he ran this for us. And so we did the meat grinder, which is like basically like you have it's like a 15 on your death saves, and he's like, your characters are going to die, so have multiple characters ready to go, and we'll just like find a way to plug them in, your next one in when your character dies. And one of our friends in that campaign had a character and critically failed jumping over a river of lava going into the dungeon. And died, and so made a new character. The next session they were coming out of the dungeon, critical fail jumping over the lava with the new character, died twice the same way, 2 different characters. It was like
Amazing.
the gods just did not want
Yeah.
you to play that.
And we remember that years later because
Exactly.
it's like, what? Yeah.
It was
and that's the thing that-
hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We have the shared
Yeah.
memories together for
Right?
that. We'll be in the nursing home. Like, remember when you fought the shark, Aaron? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh my
it's
God.
like-
That's like
yeah.
our plan. We're all going to get in the same
Oh,
nursing home. That's
Yeah,
like
yeah, exactly,
absolutely. Yeah. Happy Jack's nursing home.
yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be fantastic.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things is I don't know if it's from like my music background. I love like that when you're playing music or when you're creating like a story with a TTRPG, it's like a genuine collaborative effort where everyone's adding their own thing. It kind of layers in. You've got story beats and harmonies going. One of my favorite things is when you're playing, you get to do it more as a GM, but you can still do it as a player, where you're kind of like looking at what's happening and you just, I don't know, it's like the thing that always pops into my head, and I don't know why, maybe it's because I do costuming stuff, is in the movie Hercules,
Uh-huh.
like when like the string of life turns like gold. Like to me, it's like, you know, you're weaving this tapestry and then suddenly there's just like this thread that starts shining and you're like, oh, if I grab that and you do something with it, it's just going to make
Yeah.
this beautiful, cool picture.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I love finding those little, and sometimes they're not even like big story beats, but just little details that you can like weave in with everyone else at the table to tie
Yeah,
things
yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I
whole is
love
greater than the sum of the parts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's so great. We're like 3 sessions later or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, and I bring up, you know, you can bring up this, or you can, you know, your character thought about this like 4 sessions ago, and then boom, it pops back up. And I just
Yeah.
love those things
Yeah.
that
yeah.
end up coming in and out of the story that you've all added in together. I don't know. There's something like
Absolutely.
so artistic and beautiful and human about it that I just love it. I
Yeah.
love it so much.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's an incredible form of art and
Yeah.
socializing
Yeah,
at the same
exactly.
time. Yeah.
I remember like you know, Clips Phase size, you know, the first campaign is No Evil, like I mentioned earlier, and like I was a player character and my character's named Bartleby, and everyone, it's like Altered Carbon, everyone's brain is backed up in a hard drive called the cortical stack, and Bartleby's thing was getting people's cortical stack so he could mess with them and learn their secrets and you know, alter their minds and all this other fun stuff. And like by the end of it he had a whole character, he's like, oh, maybe doing this is bad, and he was felt really bad about being a psycho the entire campaign. And so years later I ran a sequel campaign, sort of a sequel campaign, and Caleb was a player and you who had GM'd that, and so I had for a later mission, Bartleby show up as an NPC to help the player characters, and Caleb and the other players started like killed some bad guys, started digging out their little cortical stacks. Like, and Bartleby just says, "Oh, it always starts with the stacks," and he's just not again.
Not again.
Yeah, I thought I was over this part, but yeah,
Just-
and that's the kind of thing, it was a callback from another campaign that
Yeah.
we played.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I remember
So
stuff
good.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I tell people that the dragon I'm chasing is when me and my best friend Jay were like 10 or 11, and we would hang out we'd sleep over at each other's house, and we would play GI Joes or Transformers or Mask, and like we would play with our toys, and we would make up all these stories to go along with them. Like with my GI Joes, I had this huge collection of them, and the bad guys always looked cooler than the good guys, but I do not like playing bad guys. So like I basically reskinned all of my GI Joes to be superheroes, and then all the bad guys were my ugly toys, like the General Nadine action figure that I like quartered the skull so that I could find out what the inside of a Star Wars toy head looks like, or a headless Hoth Princess Leia was one of my other bad guys. So like the ugly toys were the bad guys, and I had all of my superheroes universe that was my GI Joes. But like I'm always chasing that level of like freedom, creativity, camaraderie, and that I felt in those moments that I no longer can do through playing with toys. But like getting to play TTRPGs gets really close to that.
Yeah. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Come play with Laurel in it at some point.
Yeah.
She just like will randomly be like, and now we're in this magical place, and there's a
Yeah.
big monster over there, but
Yeah.
you're a unicorn, so you can take the. And
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
okay, all right,
Yeah.
here we go. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Right. Yeah.
Hit the ground running.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing.
It
So
just
wild.
works.
Yeah, in like literally any setting.
Yeah,
We were in the
mhm.
dentist office the other day, and she's like, "Hey, you're at my restaurant, and we have berry salad or we have fruit salad. Which one would you like?" I was like, well, very like limited menu. Okay, let's
Yeah.
go.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, mailbag 2 from the archive in 2019. Ross, do you want to take this one, or do you want me to read it?
I can read it. All right.
Perfect.
Hola, Happy Jackers. I want to chime in real quick on a question from last week in which a player was not allowed to choose to fail a dice roll. My understanding is that the player wanted the outcome of his character's actions to be different than what he said his character intended. He wanted his character to act out in a fit of rage and kill a prisoner by accident. In this case, failing the dice roll meant that the character's intent is successful and not the player's intent is successful and not the character's intent. It seemed clear to me that the player should only be allowed to choose to fail the dice roll if that's also what the character would do. Doing otherwise robs the game of the drama that comes from seeing how the dice land. I think the roll should have been made. If the roll failed, then the character kills the prisoner by accident, and has to live with the consequences with that. Oh no, what have I done? If the roll succeeded, then the character comes to their senses before killing the prisoner. Now the player should be asked to choose whether the character goes through with the murder. Is this who I am now? Or stops themselves. I should have killed them when I had the chance. That's 3 possible outcomes with great dramatic consequences for the story. The crux here to me is that the character had the ability to kill the unconscious prisoner at will. No roll necessary unless the outcome was in question. So if the player had said that they were going to kill the prisoner, I think no roll needed at that point. If the GM thinks that's not interesting enough, have another NPC walk in or make them roll stealth to see if their action is hidden. Key point is don't let it be boring. Players getting their way every time without any risks or consequences is boring. The DM shouldn't dictate their characters' actions for sure, but they should always steer the story towards more interesting or satisfying outcomes and maximize player engagement. My 2 cents, Ben from Texas.
Thank you, Ben. So from the archive, Ross, these are questions that got sent in and that we talked about previously on the podcast. This one's from 2019. I'm sure
Yeah.
the title probably is self-explanatory. but
Yeah, I hope he
over-
wasn't holding his breath for this answer. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember this not this response, but I remember the original podcast
Where we
episode
talked
where
about
that
it.
was talked about. Yeah.
That's good. You have a better memory than me. I
Oh,
have no
yeah,
memory of
yeah.
this place, which
Yeah.
is half the fun of this because I give like very different advice evidently than I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, 6 or
That,
7
I
years
think
ago.
it was a supers game, and they had caught the big bad, and
Mhm.
and one of the
yeah.
supers, and it was like low key superheroes, like like street clothes
Mhm.
superheroes, and like one of them had to decide whether or not to kill the murder, basically execute the big bad, and the DM wanted them to roll, and or the and they wanted to choose to fail, and the DM said no, you have to roll anyway. And so
Yeah.
but I think it really it turned into a real discussion about player agency,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
and what that entails, and
So
so-
for
I
yeah,
yeah.
go ahead, Ross.
I mean, my personal instinct is it's sort of that level of player agency should have been negotiated before this point. Like
Mhm.
there are different systems that have and different campaigns that have varying levels of player agency. Something like a meat grinder D&D game, right, should have very little player agency in terms of
Mhm.
like, oh no, I don't fall in the lava.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
spend a will or a fate
Yeah,
point
yeah.
or luck point, and I don't. I don't, or my character can't die unless I say it's okay. Like
Yeah.
that's very high player agency, but like, and the meat grinder is obviously intended to be very low. And
Yeah.
this sounds like the player wanted a high agency game where they can sort of dictate what kind of arc their character has. Where I want my character to accidentally kill somebody,
Mhm.
but you can't intentionally accidentally kill
Yeah.
somebody. It's one, they're mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
So I think that should have been set sort of like that sort of question should have been dealt with ahead of time. It depends on the system too. Like superhero systems often give players a lot of agency. So if it's something
Mhm.
where you have like fate points or luck points or something, I would like if it was mask or whatever, something that had luck points. I'd just yeah, you could spend a luck point to intentionally fail. I would allow that,
Yeah.
and then deal with it as it may.
Yeah.
But like yeah, so it's kind of like something you should know that before it gets to that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. For me, I think it depends like on the scene itself. Like
Mhm.
for me, especially like you're talking superheroes, like is it like you're punching the wall and then like part of the ceiling caves in because you have super strength? Like that to me would be truly accidental, and that might be a
Mhm.
situation where yes, you'd roll to see if that happened. Or is it a quote accidental, like you
Yeah.
lose control and you punch them in the face and you're super powered so it crushes their head? Like
Yeah.
that's accidental.
Right.
It's not really. It's you losing control. It's
Yeah.
not accidental. So in that case, I don't know if I would require a roll, but there should definitely be repercussions in the story beats.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
to me, I think it needs a little like the situation needs a little bit more context.
Yeah.
Because I personally hate when people use the word accidental for people like losing emotional control, because it's not an accident.
Yeah.
That's a choice.
Yeah.
You don't do it at work, so clearly it's a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they're superheroes, so maybe they do that work. I don't know. But, so there's like that, the language use there is leaving me with a little bit more desire for information. As they say
Yeah.
on the Reddit's info question.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big fan of player agency, with the caveat that that some things are negotiated up front, as you said, Ross. Like
Mhm.
in my home D&D game right now, I made it very clear to them: your character will not die unless you want it to happen, because it's dramatically interesting to the story. But in other games I've been in, I'm like, absolutely, your character could die, and so. I've also been very clear when I'm running games with my players, like, you're good guys. You do not murder people. You do not torture. If one of you tries to engage in murder or torture, there are going to be severe consequences, and that's probably going to end up with the character becoming unplayable.
That's
but-
specifically because you play masks.
Well,
Because that's a specific
Yeah.
part of the mechanics in Masks.
Absolutely. Yeah. In Masks, especially, like your teenage superheroes, you do not kill. Like there is a world where teenage superheroes can kill. If you want to play that game, that's fine. But like, let's talk about that and let's decide that's the game we're playing first before we ever start playing. I don't want to decide that after you've already, gotten 4 sessions in and we think everybody's good. And then now you just want to punch through somebody's skull. Like that's not okay. That's, to me, it's kind of a tone and setting question. Like is that the tone and setting that we established or is it not?
Yeah.
I like part of it's also is this it sounds like the player, there are some games, like I said, the meat grinder, where it's very like you're playing a game, good luck if you live.
Yeah.
It's all based on your choices and the dice rolls. But there's other games and campaigns where like the players are really like this is a writer's room and everyone's a co-writer.
Yeah.
There's the the GM's the head writer, but everyone else is a co-writer. They're pitching ideas and sort of collaboratively and this is like this is the player saying, I want to be a co-writer in the writer's room, and I want to say that this is going to be the character arc for my guy, for my character or whatever. And so the GM is like, even if that had been negotiated, no, this is a game, it's dice rolls, blah blah. If you can renegotiate, obviously, in a game, but like I would pause the game and be like, all right, well, let's talk about this major moment, because if you're gonna, especially if this has been like a Silver Age kind of comic superhero thing where like killing is verboten, are we switching to the Iron Age? Are we doing a 1980s Frank Miller turn? Pivot? Like let's talk about it. Like I just feel like that's could be a major moment. But if it's already a Frank Miller type environment, then maybe it's not such a big deal. So it's but obviously negotiate at the table, etiquette, and don't be a dick. But like I in terms of like in general, letting players fail dice roll, I mean, I tend to let them, because I say, let the bad thing happen to your character. I run a lot of horror. What can I say? Can I intentionally fail my sand roll? Sure, let's go for it. So it's kind of hard for me to answer, but my inclination is to pause and talk about this before you do anything.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like, I feel like this would if you're gonna have it be part of the story, unless like it's the actual accidental thing, like punching the wall, if it's literally like a self-control moment, I think that should be on the player. Like unless there is a self-control mechanic in the game, which there are for some games, then like put it on you and be like, I'm not going to ask you for a specific role here unless you have a self-control thing. It's like, okay, like you decide if you want it to be random, figure it out yourself. Like you can roll one of your own dice, odds or evens, whatever it is, like to decide. But I feel like that needs to be like completely on the player. I don't know. I feel like the player wanting to have it be a dice roll feels weird to me. Like, I don't know. Like, it's like, okay, make a decision about your character. Or if you can't make a decision about your character, do what we all do and be like, okay, heads or tails, whatever it is.
Well, and that's what I do sometimes when sometimes when I don't know what my character would do in the moment, I'm like, well, I'll just roll and let's see what happens, and then my character can deal with that.
That's what usually happens for me too.
And I think that's that's something I really like in Monster Hearts is that idea of like, and Monster Hearts is very clear about this. Like, you don't control what your character does. You do control how they feel about it and how they react to it. So, so your character can accidentally kill someone in that game. What does that do to you as a character, knowing that you have done that now? Did it feel good? Did it feel awful? Did it feel good, but you wish it felt awful? Like, that's part of the drama of that game. But like, when you're playing like a superheroes game, if you're playing like, in The Boys or Frank Miller or Watchmen, where it's like hyper violence is part of the setting, then that's a very different thing than if you're playing like, Golden Age Superman, or even like 60s Fantastic Four, like that you're not going to be like killing people in those settings. So, and if you do, it's a huge thing, and it's a massive shift to the character that like completely changes them forever. Yeah. So,
until the next record.
right. Yeah.
Until
yeah.
the next reboot of the system.
But one of the things I like in to establish in games is like, if we don't disagree, and this kind of goes back to the whole writer's room feel, but if we don't disagree about the outcome, if everybody at the table agrees what the outcome should be, then there's no point in rolling, right? Like it's a story point that we want to hit, and that's totally fine. It's when there's not agreement about what's going to happen that you roll.
Yeah, I get that vibe from this email. It may just be like bad vibe check, but like it feels like there was some sort of disagreement at the table that is not being expressly laid out. Like different people wanted different things to happen. Maybe, and we've had this exact scenario happen with a Masks game of yonder years. It was not an actual play; it was a Hoem game that we did, and. Yeah, the same thing happened where suddenly out of nowhere, one of the players wanted to kill somebody. And so we're like role playing it, and we're like, oh no, you can't do that. And then it becomes clear like it's going to, it's just like it went really badly.
Yeah.
Like it went really badly. Like a lot of our advice comes specifically from this game.
Yeah.
But
right.
from our personal experiences, but knowing that like they were going against the tone that everybody had agreed to, knowing that it was against the tone that we'd all wanted in the game, that it was going against all the things that all our characters stood for. So it was going to cause a major rift and like turn their character into like one of the bads, but not wanting it to then become an NPC and then, and not wanting that consequence and getting mad at us for that consequence. Was a hard thing to work through, and it didn't really work. They left the game.
And,
but it can
not really friends anymore.
But it can completely switch a game and turn a game on its head and make something that everyone agreed on and thought was fun become unfun very quickly.
It essentially ended that campaign.
It did.
And basically, like they killed someone. They killed a baddie, and it could have been dealt with, and there could have been some kind of outcome that could have still worked out, and like all of the rest of the team was like, oh holy shit, okay, well then like we all turned to arrest you, and and the player was like, what
we're like, you just did a murder.
And they just didn't grasp that was a problem for the rest of the team, and it's like, oh, you don't get what we're doing here. Like you didn't read the notes. You didn't read the syllabus, did you? And
So it's a big choice for some games. Again, if it's the boys, I'm really interested in seeing how Free League handles Invincible and the violence in that because they're doing a new system for that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So I'm interested. Like I noped out of Invincible fairly quickly as a comic fan, just because it was like a little next level. It's one of my favorite takes on evil Superman.
Yeah.
Because it's a very well thought out world, but I'm interested to see specifically mechanically how they do that with their dice system, because they change it for all their releases.
Yeah.
So I'm saying like, how do you deal with hyper-violent superheroes?
Yeah.
Hopefully it's better than our Electric State rolls. God, I can't roll in those systems to save my life. I can't get any sixes. Or I get all the sixes when I don't need them. All right.
It'd probably be like the Alien RPG where there's just custom hit tables for each hero. Like if Omni-Man hits you, roll this d6, and then that's how many limbs you lose.
Right. Yeah. I'm actually. I'm actually working on an Alien RPG campaign. Friend of the show, Neofet, who does Emporium for the Wayward Gamer. So he's doing a series of Alien RPG campaigns. So he's doing like 4 4-episode shots.
Oh, okay.
And so like one is happening on a ship, one is happening with colonists, one is happening with Marines, and then another one is happening in a second colony setting. But they're building on each other. So I'm in the colony one, and what like our story starts with the ship crashing. The ship from the first series. And so so like I'm just getting into the Alien RPG system and really getting to see how that works for the first time. But I mean, it seems like it's got a really good eye for the horror and the damage, the unsurvivability of it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we're going in knowing the GM said up front, like your characters are almost certainly going to die. So just expect that. And we all know, like, okay, we made these characters knowing that they will not survive. If they do, it's going to be an interesting thing, and it'll be a whole big event. But we know we're going to die, and that's kind of planned in, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Half the fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
10 Candles. Like, we didn't talk about 10 Candles.
10 Candles.
10 Candles is such a great game to do horror with.
It's not good for campaigns though. It is built to be a one.
It is a one shot.
It is a one shot. Yeah, I should not say campaign.
I just played recently a couple months ago. Like back in August, I think. The Zone RPG, which is a card-based RPG, which is inspired by Roadside Picnic, Stalker, Annihilation, that kind of thing. As your characters traveling into this forbidden zone, trying to get to the center to have their wish granted. And in the zone, all but one character are guaranteed to die. It's like written into the system. You draw these cards and you lay them down. That's the order these PCs will die. Then when the last character gets to the center of the zone, all the other players will dictate how their wish is interpreted.
Interesting.
It's a really cool horror system. And talks about like, why are you this broken person wanting to go into this place that no one has come out of?
Yeah.
And so everybody tries to, like, the weird things you find resonate with your character's backstory.
Yeah.
So that's very much a one-shot system. There's a similar RPG called The Trophy, which is about going into forbidden zones. It's very role-playing focused. But there's a campaign version of it called Trophy Gold, which I haven't played. I played the one-shot version.
Yeah, Trophy Gold it's a little. I've played Trophy Gold a couple times. I've played Trophy one time. Trophy Gold is good. I think Trophy had this elegance to it that I think is a little bit lost when they kind of changed it to be more like Gold hunting, like a campaign play, but still good. Like, it's still pretty good. I like it.
But the Zone, super cool. I would recommend that as a horror one-shot system. It's very evocative, especially if you like Annihilation and be like, yes, I want that to happen to me. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, if you think of anything else, shoot me an email, Ross, and I'll be like, oh, by the way.
Yeah.
Ross says,
if you ever want to play Delta Green or Horror or Red Markets or something, let me know. I'll be happy to get you on our actual play.
Do the thing. We will do the thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Crossover extravaganza.
Yes.
Finally. Years in the making.
Right?
We kill our characters and we'll make your character kiss other characters.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah. That's what we do here. We
With
make
consent,
out. Yeah. Our characters make out. Yeah.
Not all.
Great. You can make out before you get killed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or get killed and then make out.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
For Monster Hearts, that works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, it actually kind of works in kind of vague. I'm going to be vague, but like in Impossible Landscapes, there's some. It's King and Yellow Carcosa. It's all fine. Death isn't that final in there. Yeah.
Oh man, that's what I should have put. All right, I didn't do it. I'll do it for next week. I should have put the we have the Shores of Carcosa, like the music. We did a cover of it.
Yeah.
If you talk for like 2 minutes, I might be able to find it as our closing music for today, but I don't know if I have it ready available.
Well, I will say, so Ross, will you give our listeners the brief rundown on our PPR and the stuff you do again for anybody who...
Role Playing Public Radio. We've been around since 2007. We have 2 RSS feeds for Roleplaying Public Radio itself. It's discussion, advice. I did a bunch of panels at Gen Con. I'm still posting those on the main feed. We did a podcast series where we talk about designing games. I did one with Kayla where we talked about designing red markets and Delta Green Adventures and things like that. And then RPPR Actual Play, which is a weekly actual play series. We just wrapped up a Fate Accelerated campaign, but set in Forgotten Realms, run by our most innovative GM, Bridget. I'm running a bunch of stuff in RPPR Actual Play, and I have the patreon.com/RPPR. That's where you can get all these bonus scenarios that I've written for it. We do a bonus podcast or two every month, like RPPR After Hours, where we look at weird and old and funny RPG supplements and kind of make fun of them. Well, I mean, it's and then I do a mini series. Like we're doing one called Mega Dungeon Meandering, where we look at Mega Dungeon or big dungeon focused scenarios and look at them chapter by chapter. And talk about them in great detail. And we have a great Discord community, and I run games for patrons every month. If you back at a high level, there's still a slot open for a Delta Green game I'm running next week, an original scenario, and I do 1 or 2 games a month. Ludo Narrative Dissidents. That is an RPG review podcast I do with Greg Stolze and James Wallace, where we look at a RPG book and talk about it for an hour and a half. We've done so many games now I can't think of them.
One every
but, yeah.
episode. That's a lot, and you're on season 3. That's
Oh
so
my
many
God.
books.
Yeah,
What's your-
that's a lot of fun to do. Yeah.
What are your discussions about with it? Is it more like? I mean, I feel like it probably is everything, but like rules based, layout based.
It's a little of each, because between Greg, James, and I, we have experience in all the fields of RPG history or the industry. What does this book do? Who is it for? And how does it do what it wants to do? Are the 3 questions we try to ask with each book. I just finished editing an episode today. That'll come out next week on Mothership, Gradient Descent, the Mega Dungeon, and we talk about like what does it get right, what does it get wrong, or we have different preferences in terms of system and genre. James will talk about the layout because he used to run Hogshead Publishing. He was the guy who published Warhammer Fantasy Role Playing. And then Greg will talk about grammar and text. Listen to Greg rant about the future conditional, why you should never use the word will in an RPG manual, and I've played a lot of games, and so I can talk about my actual play experience.
Go send a note to my editor.
Yeah.
No, you really listen to our first season. He will explain in great detail. Like I also do Night Clerk Radio, where if you want to get new music to listen to, especially instrumental type, vaporwave and lo-fi hip hop and dark ambient, my friend Burke and I, we review weird music and talk about analog horror and utopian scholastic and all kinds of weird things like that. So what is utopian scholastic? Well, you have to listen to find out. So
Good tease.
Yeah. I'm a nerd. Like I'm a teacher. I'm like Scholastic. That's the book fair.
It's an aesthetic. It's like Encarta. Remember Encarta from the 90s?
Oh yeah.
That aesthetic. That's there's a website called the Consumer Aesthetic Research Institute that like gives names to all these aesthetics you've seen in marketing and products throughout the last decades and gives them names. So you're like, oh, this is this and this is that. Like Corporate Memphis and Allegra for that Google purple and blue people thing that they do. And, So
Amazing.
So,
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
A podcast. I like talking about stuff.
I love talking about stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
A strong deal. Well, you will have to join us again, Ross. This is amazing.
Yeah, of course. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you for joining us for season 36, episode 8 of the Happy Jacks RPG podcast. Please support our Indie Designer of the Month, Cody Gonzaga. You can find them at Jaztice, JAZTICE.itch.io. Thank you to our chat mod, James V, and to our amazing Patreons who keep us ad-free and independent. It's because of you we can talk about stuff and cuss sometimes and run whatever games we want, and we really appreciate it because we don't have to worry about sponsorship or ad money. You can join their amazing ranks at happyjacks.org/Patreon. My name is Kimmy. You can find me at Golden Lasso Girl on like Blue Sky. I'm also other places, but really not. I'm just like my accounts are there. You can find the games that I make at goldenlassogames.com. And I think that's everything right now. here on Tuesday nights for Road to Nowhere, our Electric State podcast. There was something else I was supposed to... Oh, I got interviewed by Snowbright Studios for their Cozy Companion magazine.
Yay.
I'm in their like autumn one. They talked to me about cozy RPGs and specifically Starscape, which is coming out, and like how to create cozy moments in like sci-fi and different things like that. They put our interview on page 42, which makes me very, very happy.
Nice. Very cool.
I was like, thank you so much. And they're like, oh yeah, that's great. I was like, yeah. So yeah, if you're interested in picking that up, they do really great magazines. It also really appeals to me because it's got like crocheting patterns and like some recipes. It's a very cozy, like little game mag. And it's actually like they send it to you. It's like a real magazine. It's not just online. It's very cool. So if you want to check that out, you can find that at the Snowbright Studios website. And I think that's all my stuff this week.
Okay. Halito, everybody. I am Adam, and I can you can find me on Instagram at Hoobuk, HOOBUK, where I post things about my art, cats, progressive politics, and gaming, and other stuff like that. You can also you can buy my art. I'm a registered Choctaw artist. You can buy my paintings and put them on stuff at my Redbubble store, which is redbubble.com/people/Hoobuk. HOOBUK. So could use some support. So if you like cool art, go check out my stuff. And then you can find me here on Sunday evenings playing in the Astral Circus, our Space Jammer D&D 5th edition actual play, and 5 p.m. Pacific on Sunday nights. And it's a super lot of fun.
It is. You guys are wild.
Yeah, it is really wild. Yeah, we're in hell now, and it's great. Yeah,
Yay.
So, yeah, just the first circle, so it's fine.
And Ross, I know you already did your stuff, but say it one more time. What's your name and where can people find you?
I'm primarily social media. I'm primarily right now on Blue Sky. I sent you the link to my Blue Sky profile. I have a link tree on there with all the links to it. Patreon.com/RPPR. That'll have a link to all my podcast stuff. Or I'll try and post it in here. Yeah, those are slangdesign.com/RPPR for RPPR actual play, roleplayingpublicradio.com for RPPR actual play, or you can look for RPPR actual play on your podcasting app of choice, or Roleplaying Public Radio, or Luddo Narrative Dissidents, or Night Clerk Radio on podcasting apps. I also have a portfolio page that has all this stuff listed and all my publications. Here, I'll send you that.
Is that a basic website you could say out loud for the audience that's listening?
Yes, slangdesign.com/portfolio. That has
Perfect.
a list of all my stuff. So I've been on the internet doing this stuff long enough that I not like really the internet keeps changing on me. So I'm like, what do I do now? Do I have my own website? Do I on all the platforms? Oh God. It used to be called Twitter. Now it's now we don't go there anymore.
The unnamed place that we dislike.
Yeah. Now we go to Blue Sky, and Blue Skies go, we'll see how long Blue Sky lasts. So
what do you do?
No.
Yeah.
What do you do? Exactly. Yeah. I'm just trying my best.
Yeah.
I'm just one guy. Yeah.
That's
all we can do. Yeah.
Yeah. I never even figured out GeoCities. I'm so
man.
Oh yeah. Google Plus.
Zoomer kids are like, oh man, this GeoCities looks cool. I wish I could have been there for that. No,
it was not. I swear it was not.
I do love the kids now doing analog horror, trying to figure out how VHS used to work. And
oh my God, yeah.
It's great. They go to thrift stores and get a camcorder. Like, this is so cool. It's like, all right, cool. Honestly, good for them. I'm glad they did it.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's fun. Yeah.
We gotta sell our old crap to somebody.
I mean, freaking Marble Hornets just came back. There's a new Marble Hornet series that, after 11 years, he came back. So, like, good for him. So, yeah. Slenderman's back, baby. Anyways, I'm just saying.
All right. Okay, we can't start talking comics or we'll never leave.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This week we're going to leave you with a song. I could not find the other one. I'm so sorry. So I will try and put it in next week for you in honor of you. Even we won't be here next week.
Thank you.
But Ross, you are going to be our Indie Designer of the Month for next month. So we will be talking about
Yay.
one of your projects every week. So during one of those weeks, I'll make sure we have Casilda's song as like the closing song, just in your
Oh
honor.
yeah, you could do you could my architectural horror scenario, the Night Clerk,
Amazing.
which is
Perfect.
very spooky. Yeah.
Spooky. All right, so this week we're going to leave you with a song. It's called Honey Wine by our friends at the band Electrotron. And they actually have a performance coming up in San Diego-ish. So if you Google Electrotron, which is spelled pretty much like you'd guess it was, you can see some of their upcoming stuff. It's really great. I don't think they have a website at the moment, because they are a lot younger than me and know the internet better. So I guess websites aren't a thing. I don't know. Anyway, Google them. They're amazing. Fantastic. You previously know, well, they also were Dread Crew of Oddwood. It's like they're in two bands, whether they want to wear glowing cyberpunk gear or pirate gear. It depends on, that's the band. So that's how you know who you're watching. Dread Crew of Oddwood is pirate hats. Electrotron is them with their guitars and glowing parts.
Yeah.
So yeah. Amazing. So anyway, thank you so much, and we will see you next week. Bye.
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 Every day it's all the same. Come and go without a trace. Leaving me so much to